Hello, this is Richard Bruce, and if you're seeing my channel for the first time, what you're about to see is footage of a phenomena called gang stalking, which is a psychological warfare harassment that is used to intimidate and ruin people, destroy them actually, for various things, sometimes completely mysterious. If you look up gang stalking on YouTube and online elsewhere, you will see much material is published about this from individuals who have suffered from it and even organizations. I recently posted some clips in Facebook of a poster, a PDF flyer that the Japanese have put out, which had a 2015 figure of over 1,500 people have registered as victims of gang stalking, everything from electronics malfunctioning to voices in their head to weird sores showing up at their body, uncontrolled bowel movements and other ailments in the body, things that happen. There's actually a very good video on my channel of a Japanese fellow with English subtitles, and he goes on for 2 hours using diagrams and so forth. It's called Massive Gang Stalking in Japan at my channel. And he really does a fantastic job of explaining it, but it's a terrifying phenomenon and very distressing, and it's so negative and so dark that people who really are not interested in something like this or haven't had something like this happen to them or are into intrigue like this are just not even going to be able to believe it or even begin to look at anything like this as being true. But I can tell you it happened to me, and it happened to me for uploading Reptilian shapeshifter movies to YouTube. 0.0 doubt about it. Within 15 minutes of uploading my first 40-minute feature of Reptilian shapeshifting study, which I found on YouTube, that subject, and I investigated somebody else's report, a channel called Frequency Fence from a now gone nuts apparently from his gang stalking gentleman named Christian Kunimi, whose channel was called Frequency Fence. And anyway, he did a report on the movie The Matrix starring Keanu Reeves, which I was very familiar with, and it showed all kinds of non-human features, reptilian scales, fangs, claws, elongated parts, and shape-shifting, which I now believe is mostly what I call demonic distortion. However, I don't know and or if there is a difference because we can't get a actual physical shapeshifter to come on live. But what I do have absolute proof of is the fact that there are non-human spiritual entities, which I have even caught in myself. On Ripley's Believe It or Not, what happens is, for some reason, it comes out in video. You might even be able to take this apart. When you move quickly across the screen, apparently the spirit entities somehow show up. It's the same weirdness as the reverse speech thing that Peggy Kane, who was a paranormal researcher, and she discovered that by reverse speeching the voices that she was getting using ambient noise on a recorder, and then she would reverse the speech that she would get from these entities, she was able to find out the truth about them. And it's an amazing work that she did. I continue to say that the work that Peggy Kane did and uploaded it with these videos uncovering this whole thing about how the reptilians eat us matches what the scripture says about Adam being made of the dust and the serpent's meat being the dust. Therefore we are being eaten. Yes, eaten. Our God has made us to be eaten by reptilian beings, and that is a whole wild subject that most people cannot possibly be able to believe is going on until they might, as I said, start to experience something dark like this themselves. Until then, you live in a dreamy land. Those of us who have realized it have coined it waking up, as it were. And there's, of course, whole different levels to that. We don't really know what that is, but at least coming out of the happy-go-lucky normal life worldview that most people have, going about their daily lives, not realizing that we are under an amazing darkness in every way you could imagine. Spiritual beings living outside of us and inside of us from the demonic realm constantly doing things to us, attacking us, adding thoughts to our mind that are not our own, and also causing other people to attack and do all kinds of things. And I realized about this gang stalking thing that although I hadn't gotten the continuous helicopters flying overhead and police cars lighting up and zooming around me so much, about a dash camera and recorded the phenomenon. When I had a good enough footage, I put that with some reptilian shapeshifter footage, uploaded that, and it largely stopped that phenomena, but other things continued. Noise campaigns, constant, these little demonic airplanes. Believe it, this is what's so weird. You can't even, I still can't even believe it, possibly when I see it and hear it. I can't even believe it when I see it and hear it. But I learned somewhat from the Chris LaSala channel about the airplanes that are apparently either holograms or demonic forms, and they're using sound projection or whatever else. In any case, it's not a real airplane. They're not real helicopters in many cases. Some cases they are. I think they are. So it's a confusing mix, of course. They want to keep us confused. That the whole thing is so wild and diabolical that, you know, it's hard to wrap your head around. But anyway, in any case, most people that are even going to get anything out of this or possibly be able to believe that the footage that I'm showing of these helicopters and so forth and reptilian shapeshifters are people who have had some kind of encounter themselves, or have realized somewhere deep down inside that there is this darkness that we're all facing. There was a guy, Derek Prince, who's now deceased, but he was a British what do you call it, a exorcist type guy. Anyway, he was into demonology, and God revealed to him a lot of this stuff, and he made a video called "The Enemies We Face," and he, I think, very well puts it that we have a constant battle. For those of us who have woken up to the fact that we are in a constant battle with these beings, and it's a battle for our soul. The ultimate sphere of success or failure is our own willingness to give in to sin or not. And of course, I will tell you surely that the non-Christian has no chance whatsoever. If you can't even realize the scripture and realize what God is doing with all this and wrap your head around it with the knowledge of the scripture, the education that God's word, which is inerrant, by the way, don't be fooled by people who say it's the reptilians, men interfered with the Bible. No, a careful examination of God's word will tell you that it is inerrant. It contains no word of man. It took me 20 years to figure that out, guys. Everybody who's watching this, took me 20 years to figure it out. That, in fact, God can speak English. He can get an accurate message. And if it says his words are pure, and the definition of impurity is if man touches it whatsoever, as we see in Exodus 20:25, and we see in Psalm 12:6, for the words of the Lord are pure. We know that no man could not only have written one single word, one single jot, one single space, but also no man could have edited it. And when you understand this, then your eyes begin to open. I was a secularist for the whole first part of my life until I was about 20, 21, 22. That's when I started to believe that there was something more going on. But before then, I couldn't believe in anything I couldn't see. And I would tell everybody who believed in religion that that's just something that people use to feel hopeful in a world of very much depressing things that face us. But I can tell you now that I have a complete switch of that view, and I now understand that it's weirder than our minds can comprehend what's going on, because it's interdimensional. It's taking place over these periods of time that are so vast we don't have any way to comprehend how vast what's going on is. But in any case, these videos that I'm uploading showing these helicopters, different things, mostly helicopters, but some airplanes and so forth, is a record of what you become when you become targeted by government and actual other figures, not just demons. It's that they're working with the government, in the governments, in humans, whatever. We know that Satan comes in a human form, the Antichrist. In any case, this human form of it and obvious overt form of this gang stalking came in January 2013 when I uploaded my first full feature report. I had uploaded a small movie in January, and then in February 2013 was when I uploaded my first full report, 40-minute report called Reptilian Matrix Message, which when I took apart the movie from the report that I saw from that guy online, Frequency Fence, showing the demonic features, the claws, the fangs, the scales, the discoloration, these all kinds of weird non-human anomaly shapes. When I took it apart myself, I saw them. But I am now of the opinion that mostly what we're seeing are interdimensional. However, that doesn't make them any less real. But what's happening is the character of the resulting indwelling being. I know this because I myself, I'm not a shapeshifter. I'd tell you if I was. I know I'm not. But when I took apart the footage of myself, I saw the shape-shifting. I saw my reptilian slit eyes I had. Yes, I had reptilian scales, fangs. I haven't really seen the claws, but I saw monsters on my wrist. I mean, multiple faces. I mean, just the weirdest stuff. And it looks physical. That's what, for 2 years, taking this footage apart, I thought what I was seeing were physical changes on all these stars. Kurt Russell, Sigourney Weaver, Keanu Reeves, Harrison Ford. I mean, just incredible stuff. Now, just to be clear, again, I don't know at this point because without an actual shapeshifter, and I do... the scripture tells us they are physical beings because it says that, behold, the days cometh, saith the Lord, that I shall sow the house of Israel and the house of Judah with the seed of man and with the seed of beast. It doesn't mean that people are having sex with animals and somehow that's creating people. No, they're having sex with these sentient beings that are living among us that take all different kinds of familiar animal forms, except they're in bipedal form, similar to what you see with the Egyptian paintings of these walking, talking dude, but he's got a bird head or an alligator head or something like that. And so that's what these beings are, except, and I think that there is a relatively small number of them living amongst the population. In fact, a lot of them I think are subscribers to my channel on Ripley's Believe It or Not. And in any case, they are living among us, but they also are in spirit form. According to Susan Reed, some of these demons may actually be reptilians that are still in a physical body, but they leave their bodies to come and attach themselves to various people, and those people take on the forms of these controlling demonic entities. And an important fact about this is that, and what the Reptilian tells Susan Reed, because she got a reptilian demon to talk to her, and he said that humans will not understand the way reptilians think. And that's just one group. You know, the reptilians apparently predominant among the demonic beings, but there's all different kinds. I saw in myself a lion, or I can't tell, like a feline type being, something else that looks like a weird, pissed off, grinning clown. I don't know what these things are, but apparently they're these, I think what they are. But my theory about what demons may ultimately be, I mean, maybe some of them are created from scratch, but I think a lot of them are once human, or maybe they were once angels, and then when they choose evil, they become these weird, twisted, demonic beings, and then their whole economy, there's like a complete organized. It's not just random, you know, beasts running around with claws and fangs. No, these are organized, well funded. They use money apparently. According to Peggy Kane, they have a whole economy, and they're even more organized and hardworking and disciplined and long-term planning than humans ever dreamed of being. So they're using strategies against humans, little weird subtle stuff that you can't believe. Why would they do these weird little constant attacks? I was going to say that this gang stalking thing that got me, and the main overt part of it came when I uploaded Reptilian Shapeshifter footage. But what I realized was I had been getting a form of this gang stalking, or in its demonic form, in another form, which was not with airplanes or anything physical like that, but it was from demons living in people. And what the form that mine took, and it takes, with other people, it takes all different kinds of stuff. But in what mine was whistling. They would whistle, and this happens to me so often, and especially since I began this campaign of uploading reptilian shapeshifter footage. I mean, everywhere, every day I go, I walk by, somebody goes, like really weird, just, I mean, completely. And I remember when this was happening to me in the Navy, I told a friend of mine, Chuck Waycaster, my fellow Navy man, as we were walking through the hangar deck of a aircraft carrier, I was trying to tell him, you know, look, I know you don't believe me, but I had this weird thing where people whistle whenever I'm around, and I don't know what it is. Like, maybe I make people nervous. You know, I have no idea what this is. Now I understand. It's demonic gang stalking. These and the demons in me have caused me to even do and say stuff that I realized that was those demons affecting my behavior to attack other people. Just to pile this on, how weird it is, how weird it gets. But the point is that I was getting a demonic form of this subtle form of gang stalking, and it's like it's a tactic that what I think it is it's to put you on edge more and more and more, and to destroy you. It's not just like they're trying to get you to corrupt you through, you know, whatever it is, pornography or, you know, drugs or something like that. It's they want to wreck you in any way they can, drive you crazy, cause you to lose your temper, cause relationships to go wrong. And that's what I was going to say. You know, one of the things that I thought that, you know, I would make a call to do in this record that I'm leaving is a call for scientific study of demons, because we're trying to solve all these problems with psychology and drugs and all this stuff, and if we don't even know that we're being attacked by both exterior and interior demonic beings, each one of which has its own intelligence, each one of which receives orders from on high and does targeted things against us. Okay, we know he's getting a little bit frustrated about who knows what it is, people getting in his way, or people cutting him off on the freeway, or somebody coughing. A man contacted me from Germany, tells me that they started driving him crazy by every time he would go anywhere, people would cough. and it's so weird that people who, again, who haven't had something like this happen, can't possibly believe that this could be happening. They just think it's paranoia. It's dredged up by the mind. People who haven't been exposed to this, people who are watching this and maybe have happened upon this movie on YouTube, and they say to themselves, you know, this is just somebody who has gone nuts, and maybe some things happened, maybe they didn't, but now they've completely lost it because they're just imagining stuff like coughing or normal people whistling, right? People whistle all the time. I whistle all the time. Right? So, you know, until you've had something happen to this and you can record a pattern, and it's very hard to get it on video. First of all, people get uproariously offended, as I've found, when you if you use a video camera on them in particular. So it's, you know, this is hard to get. In fact, I've almost gotten into trouble at times carrying my video camera in situations where I could be kicked out of a place, you know, for using a video camera. You know, security might kick me out or something like that, or somebody will get so upset they'll call the police, and even if I'm within my perfect legal rights to videotape them, it'll cause such a problem that I won't be able to return to that place and or place of business or whatever if I use a video camera. And then also there's problems, as I've mentioned. I can only get about 1 in 5, just to be on, you know, roughly maybe less than that, of the airplanes and other helicopters, and of them a smaller amount that actually are good enough footage to where it looks like it's directed at me. Because if you're just filming random aircraft flying by, and I get 90%, 95% of the people who comment at my video channel say, "Well, do you live near an airport, dude?" Or, you know, "Dude, you know, it's LA, there's lots of airplanes. I mean, what's the matter with you?" You know, so they don't. There's just no way anybody has to look, at least look like. And even then, where I've zoomed in on the police officer's piloting the choppers looking right at me, they say, oh, well, you know, they just noticed you on the ground. Yeah, you're right. I'm in a Starbucks behind a window, and they're at least 200 feet away. Oh, sure, they noticed me, and they're looking directly at me. Okay, fine. But, you know, okay, so I'm making my point that it's hard to get good, convincing footage of this. Very hard, and they know that. And for the most part, I think, really, and, you know, and myself, like I said, I'm a limited commodity at this point. My days are numbered. There's only so long I can go on like this, you know. And I mean, not to sound fatalistic, but I mean that's the reality. Once you're a targeted individual, your days are numbered. They're working on you hard. Okay, they have a hard campaign against me and against other people, and people have died. I think people like my friend in the Navy's dad, Chuck Wakehat, I think they drove him nuts, and they put him in an institution, then they drug you, and then your history. It happened to Frequency Fence, the fellow I said made the initial report that I saw on the movie The Matrix. I think they got him into a hospital, they drugged him, God knows what else they did to him, and now he's just completely nuts, claimed to be Jesus Christ on camera and without any proof or anything, and he's just totally bonkers. But that's even just one part of it. I think a lot of people, they get to they drive so nuts that they commit a crime. They go into they go into a police station and complain, hey, there's a police helicopter's following me around or something. And they go, well, okay, we think you're psychotic or something, schizophrenic, and then they have them take a test. Then they say it's positive. Then they administer drugs. The drugs screw them up, and then you know, they're just completely discredited. They're labeled by a psychiatrist as nuts, and then they don't have any credibility whatsoever. And then they're further enraged by this whole thing, and they just go nuts. They go mad, literally mad, from this whole situation. So there's a lot to do on this as far as, you know, being able to figure it out and solve it. I'm going to continue to fight until I'm not able. And another thing too is we have to organize. And so what I think I'm going to try to do is put together something. And I've been slow to think of a way to do this, because everything comes against TIs, targeted individuals, from truly uniting. There are some people maybe doing it like in Japan, where they have there's a lot more racial unity, but I tell you, the few people that I've tried to get together with, it's like one thing or another seems to somehow get in the way, and they know it. They know that if even two people can team up together, it would be a powerful force. One guy can hold the camera, another guy can witness to the fact that, you know, it's highly unusual. I even did a whole interview with somebody recently, and they chickened out, and after we went through all this work, there was obvious helicopters flying overhead and things distracting us. We had to move 3 times. We went through all this trouble to get the interview footage, and then he wimped out afterwards and said that he didn't want to do it. I'm not going to name names, but, you know, it was just, I realize now that when you do an interview with somebody, you tell them in advance the footage is yours once you shoot it, and it doesn't matter what happens. That's it. It's yours, and if you didn't want it published, you shouldn't have done the interview. So understand that beginning up front, and if you're not absolutely sure that you want to go on camera, don't do it. But I say, why not? If you're a targeted individual, why the hell not? First of all, if somebody claims something against you, then you can publish it online and say you have a record of the fact that all this stuff was going on. Without any record, then they could just say you went nuts in the moment or something else. And furthermore, of course, the main thing is to get the word out there so that more and more people know that you can be targeted by our own United States government and other governments elsewhere. This is universal. It's happening. I get letters from every major nation so far, with the exception of I haven't gotten one from Japan, but I know it's going on there. As I said, I just uploaded some flyers to YouTube. I haven't gotten a contact from Russia or China, maybe also because probably, and I also feel that my YouTube channel is largely blocked. They have a way, I think they have an algorithm that keeps my channel largely under wraps, even though it's completely improvable. There's no way I can prove it. I do think that they are doing that, because I see other channels with much worse content, and you see their movies get like 200,000 views all the time, 50,000, 20,000. My movies, 200 or 300 maybe a lot of times. I mean, some of them get, 8,000, 12,000, the higher scoring ones, and the really high scoring ones, I do get the get the high scoring occasionally, but they just don't get as many as I think that they should. It just seems way too low. And the whole subscriber thing, who knows how many there are, okay? There's no way to tell. So it's just one of those things where, you know, they're not going to easily divulge the information. But in any case, what you're seeing is what I try to do to filter this out, because like I said, also as I've said, some of these could be random flyovers. I realize that, and then I'm saying, you know, showing it in the scanning stalking report, but it's really not. They're just random flyovers. But for the most part, since I've been doing this now for 3.5 years, I've been experiencing this. I can tell the difference. There's also key things. A lot of times with the airplanes, you'll get a creaking in the, whether it's your car or I get it in my RV, and I got it in my apartment before that. The windows and walls creak from something hitting it, some kind of beam or something. You can totally hear it going like the something hitting it, but not just the normal vibration, because I never noticed that before. But you hear it in combination with the startup of it, and I think it might even be just the projection of the sound and image projected at you in particular, so that you notice it. But what we do know is they have blue beam technology. They have holograms, or you absolutely can't tell the difference. Some people just, you know, they can't handle that, and I understand completely. But they have apparently holograms with sound, vibration, and everything. You're looking at it, you can feel the vibration, and you know it's there, but in fact it's a hologram. Listen to the John Lear videos. He explains how they have this holographic technology. You cannot tell the difference between a real helicopter or airplane and a holographic one. In addition to the even further confusing fact that I was watching the Chris LaSala channel, where he's interviewing this demon right here in California, and the demon talking through this one gentleman was saying that these airplanes flying over were in fact demons. So we have demons that can transform into what apparently are aircraft, and you know, it's all just a form of harassment, or maybe it's a way of a physical manifestation which they can't somehow achieve without using something. But apparently they're all under rules to, of course, not make it obvious, to keep all this under wraps, so that the common people around us, the average person around us, they can see the same thing and think nothing of it. I'm sure, you know, this could have been happening right next to me. Never could have realized it without the knowledge that I now have with this targeted individual gang stalking phenomena. This guy passes right overhead as I'm leaving. And furthermore, let's see if he turns off here. Yeah, it was definitely a buzz.
Their presence is there's such an evilness about them, and they want out of this other dimension.
All right, 309. By October 20th, and you can see it looks like also a curvature pattern as though he's flying over this area. See how well, it's hard to see from this angle, but he's turning towards the sidewalk here. Okay, you got a buzz here. October 22nd, 12:53 p.m., 2016.
In the police station, when he was being held down and the sergeant came over, he said the sergeant shapeshifted in front of him, turned into a reptile.
October 22nd, 2 p.m. Security guard walking right in front. Sure is cute. October 23rd, 9:17.
It's flesh of the flesh with you. Its head is your head. Its eyes are your eyes.
Okay, so I just got this card from Eileen. I think I'm saying that right, Eileen. And look at this nice card she gave me. Wait, hold on. And she gave me a gift to help keep me going, which I very much appreciate. And so she says that, Dear Brother Richard, thank you so much for your work on shapeshifters. It is so important for us to be aware of this, just as Laura Lee, Yahuwah Stewart, Yahweh Rules, and Barak Shai have exposed cloning. Time for the church to be more discerning than ever. You are always in my prayers with love, Eileen. Well, thank you, Eileen. Thank you, Eileen. I really appreciate that, and it's always nice to get a real letter in the mail. It's awesome, and also it really makes me feel like I'm actually doing something. Sometimes I wonder if I'm doing anything, although by now I'm beginning to think that maybe my YouTube channel is doing something due to all the aircraft attention. But no, also I get little signs from the Lord. Maybe, I don't know. I can't be 100% sure. Some people I think are a lot more sure than I am, but one thing I can say is something's going on, and it's interesting. So we'll see. And thanks for this. Okay, we got 11:48, so very close to their 12 midnight notification time. It is very popular for a reptilian attack. And so what we got is a helicopter circling, and you can hear it now. Let's see if we can get a visual. There we go. Passing by very close. See that angry buzzing? Security passes in front as I leave. Yeah, so what you see there is typical of the demonically controlled security. They pull in front of me right as I'm leaving. A lot of times the demons that are controlling them will wait till I don't have the camera handy, if I happen to have it out.
Bargained with it, you know, a long time ago, and I'm holding up my hand.
What was your bargain?
To get where I am now.
Should I ask who you made the bargain with?
with you know, with the chief commander.
On this earth?
And in this earth, and then in the world we can't see.
Let me express my thanks to the historic slate of candidates. Sir,
Satan is his father, not Guy.
Alright, so we got the midnight buzz. Let's see if we can get a visual. "3:05 a.m. Okay, so here we have a security guard passing in front of me, walking just as I'm about to approach my car. See my car there, and you see him walk in front. Almost looks kind of zombie-like, you notice? He probably has no idea that he's being controlled. Security guard passes right in front of me as I come to the car.
The national toll per year is in the thousands. Every year, kids die violently because of this.
The kind of individuals involved are down the line, almost in every instance, in the cases I've investigated, men who are very powerful, usually very wealthy, and usually administrate control over a large number of people.
A 16-year-old boy came to us telling how he'd started as a prostitute at age 12 and now is employed by a large Houston corporation. The corporation pays him from a well-covered slush fund.
I'm working right now, you know, like, just, you know, with the corporation. And
what's that? How's that work?
Well, when their executives or, you know, their business people are in town, they're sent to our apartment, and we entertain them while they're here.
Okay, what's that entertainment usually involve? What do they usually demand, or what do they want?
Well, it's all kinds of sex and perversions. There's no two alike. I decided that.
Subsequent to the making of this interview, this boy's mutilated body was found.
And if Washington doesn't have enough to talk about these days, the Washington Times reported today that unidentified White House aides in the Carter, Reagan, and Bush administrations now are being investigated for using the services of a call boy ring. The paper reports that 2 of the male prostitutes were given a late-night tour of the White House last year.
He said the sergeant shapeshifted in front of him, turned into a reptile.
He's probably going to go for an overhead here. Sound like he wants to go for an approach. Or a suspicious person of some kind.
He said the sergeant shapeshifted in front of him, turned into a reptile.
Gang stalker plane directly above. As I was approaching the vehicle. October 31st, 6 p.m. 2016. As I'm entering into Trader Joe's.
He said the sergeant shapeshifted in front of him, turned into a reptile.
Palm Beach Fudge. November 3rd, 9:15. And the thought was to publish about the Jews. Okay, got a midnight buzz. There it goes. (3 a.m. November 4th.
Your creature of the night, Michael. Your creature of the night, Michael.
Okay, November 6th, 1:15.
He said the sergeant shapeshifted in front of him, turned into a reptile.
November 6th, 1:16. 1:30 a.m. a.m. November 7th.
When the mid-September through mid-November, they sacrifice babies and nothing but babies because they need the pure blood of the untainted children.
Passing directly overhead. Helicopter. There he goes.
He said the sergeant shapeshifted in front of him, turned into a reptile.
Okay, this guy pulled in front of me and started slowing down. Now he's swerving off the side of the road. You can barely see over the dashboard. Looks like he's stoned off his ass. Alright, so that last buzz was an interesting thought-based buzz. I was thinking that as salvation comes first to the Jew and then the Gentile, so will condemnation come first to the Jew and then to the Gentile. And as I thought that, I got the buzz almost right away. Okay, you got a buzz right here, direct overhead. 6:38. This flies right overhead as I came back to the vehicle. November 9th. Okay, got a buzz in progress. You can tell by the approach pattern. The sound. November 9th, around 9 p.m., 2016.
And how tall are they when they shapeshift?
They're just about 7 feet tall. Some are a little shorter, or to a foot shorter. Some are a little bit taller than 7 feet.
Obama also was told, because when he and I were serving in the Mars Jump Room program, we were being trained under Ed Dames in the summer of 1980 at College of the Siskiyous in Weed, California. His presidency and mine were being openly discussed by who was present. His mother, Stanley Ann Dunham, who had been an intelligence operative in Kenya and Indonesia, even married into those cultures. And Barry, as is indicated by the fact that he's a highly skillful political tactician, because he reached the White House as the first African-American president at age 47. Here we have actually a U.S. chrononaut serving as president, soon to be re-elected the second time, not revealing that he was a U.S. chrononaut and participant in the secret space program. Almost 4 years later is one of my former Mars colleagues stating that, well, when they do find something, it might just be microbes. Okay? We are basically being suffocated by disinformation, by an entirely disingenuous form of government that constantly lies to us.
Circles around again, November 12th, 2:46. You can see he's turning. Notice in this next sequence, as I approach my car on Saturday night, the 12th, a security guard is waiting right there and actually stops and waves me across. And I turned my video camera on him as I walked by, and he noticed that and was staring at me as I returned to my car. Apparently now a suspicious figure pointing a video camera at him, that I can understand. But the point is that this happens too many times to be coincidence. And this is definitely a gang stalking feature. This is harassment. I knew that they were going to do that when I came back to my car, have a security guard passing right there in front of me, right as I'm about to enter into the car. And so there he was, sure enough. So that's why I had the camera rolling. Notice the security guard passing this time. Thank you. (11:12), 9:10 p.m. There it goes. Midnight buzz. Right over the RV. Excellent. And that was 11:05.
And the Lord's allowed me for a brief moment to experience His power, to feel part of His power. I could feel the control He has over everything. I mean, just a piece He let me feel, because I saw the vastness of space and all the stars and all the planets. And He's in control of every one of them, and there's billions of them. And everyone has a name for them. And He knows everything that's going on everywhere. It was just mind-boggling.